Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys, and we are going to be doing a little bit of geek breakdown. And in this particular video, we are going to be talking about, personally, the things that we would like Warner Brothers to do in order to fix the DC Extended Universe or the DC Cinematic Universe. Let me get the introductions out of the way. I'm the Reverend.
The theme here.
And I'm Gray Mouse 1.
If you haven't been living underneath a rock, you know that on the 29th, Marvel went ahead and they dropped their Infinity War trailer. All right, their first official Infinity War trailer. Now, right now, on the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel, that particular video has broken all sorts of records, and it's probably sitting around 79 million plus a few 100,000 views in change at this moment in time. That's that one channel. That doesn't include all of the other channels that have rights to go ahead and air it out and redistribute it and reshow it, because you add everything up, it's very easily over 100 million views across all the channels that are showing it off right now. Okay, now earlier, actually just last week or around the holiday times, around Thanksgiving times, Gray Mouse and I went ahead and we saw Justice League. Okay, granted, it wasn't very high on our list of things to do for the holiday weekend, but we decided to go ahead and see it. And I would have to say, thankfully, neither of us walked away from the movie theater saying that it was a horrible movie. All right. Yes, it's no, we didn't ask for our money back. All right. And yes, it is a bit of a technical mess. Yes, the storyline is a little bit a bit jumbled, but if we were looking at it, objectively, a lot of the trials and a lot of the difficulties that accompanied and a lot of issues that were created within that movie itself were actually were definitely created by the executive folks at Warner Brothers who own the DC properties. All right, going ahead, and it very much felt like it was a movie that was put together by committee. That's pretty much the truth, right, Gray Mouse? Yeah, we know there was more than one director. We know that they did almost 4 months worth of fucking reshoots on things like that.
It's very obvious on some.
Yeah, we know that they turned it from 2 movies into 1 movie, and then all of a sudden, instead of it just being 1 movie from 2 movies, that they went ahead and they said, look, it can't be longer than 2 hours and 10 minutes long. Okay, so they had to pare it down even more, and shit got jumbled up. Henry Cavill had this whole mustache fiasco where that had to be CG'd out. That probably cost him like $20 million right there, just doing the post process of all of that. And, there was a lot of issues. All right, but as geeks, all right, I'm going to say this right now. None of us have been to film school, all right? But, as folks who aren't willing to part with our money to go out of our way to go to the movie theater and watch movies and stuff like that, I think as middle-aged guys, we've probably seen enough movies to be able to not only identify what we like, but with the advent of the internet, we can also identify the things behind the camera, on the other side of the camera, that contribute to the things that we like. So what we're going to do right here is that, yes, a lot of people are negative about like the outlook of the DC Cinematic Universe, the DCEU, and all of that. A lot of people go ahead and poo-poo all over the movie properties. All right, up until watching Justice League, like I said before, and you could find this on video, I was pretty much adamant that I was hoping for them to go ahead and just reboot everything and restart everything from the very beginning. Fuck these movies, fuck Man of Steel, fuck Batman versus Superman, fuck Justice League and all that. That's pretty much how I felt. Fuck Wonder Woman. Yeah, to just not to sound like a Marvel shill, but yeah, that was pretty much my mindset. After watching Justice League, though, it wasn't anywhere near as bad as what people were fearing it was going to be. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as what I was fearing it was going to be. All right, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things that Warner Brothers can't do to fix the DCEU. And that's what we're going to cover in this particular video. Each one of us are going to cover our top 3 things that we think Warner Brothers can do in order to fix the DC expanded universe. All right. Floor is open, guys. Who wants to go first?
Gray Mouse, go ahead.
Okay, so with me, I think they would do a lot of good with characterization. Know your source material. Use your source material to the best of you. I mean, you have the talent down there in your animation department. They've been doing that for years. Warner Brothers Animation, with all the animated films on the various DC characters. Pull from them if you don't know how, and I think basically what I'm saying here is the fact that Marvel does that very well. They know the source material. They went out and did their homework for the source material. I felt that would be something that Captain America would say. That would be something that Iron Man would say. That's what they're utilizing in their movies, and that's why it's so popular. I think DC should do the same thing. They should know their source material, how that particular character would act on film. So that's my one point. I have more, but I want to share. Go ahead, Theme.
Okay. One of the biggest mistakes with even the rebooting and things like that, and the rebooting upon rebooting. All right. Especially when it came to Justice League. I'm like, all right. All they had to do really from that point is introduce a whole bunch of villains that they had to take down. That was well known already. That was well known and arch villains from the Justice League members themselves. I mean, kind of like, let's say an Injustice League or actual Legion of Doom, maybe. Because that would have fixed a lot. Especially, it's like, all right, you're just going to jump straight to the parademons and all that. It's like, wait, how do we get all the way up here? Yeah. You just skipped a lot of shit. I mean, yeah, they need to slow down. In other words, and actually go back a bit and actually enter some shit that we would actually appreciate. And as far as what makes sense, have them face motherfuckers on Earth before you face motherfuckers elsewhere.
On a galactic scale.
Yeah.
So, Gray Mouse, your first point is use the source material, use the stories that are there in the comic books.
Characterization, yeah.
That's use the stories that are there in the comic books. And
no. As a reference, I'm not saying I don't want to freaking see, the Killing Joke, for example, on the movie theater, on the screen. I want to see. I just want them to have their characterization. I want them to look into the story, where they came from, and then create a new story or whatever. I don't want to see a rehash of a comic book. Is basically what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. And then the Theme, your point was, which one are we going to stick with? Are we sticking with they should do their own thing or they should do it on their own pace? What was your particular point?
Well, the thing about them doing their own thing is that they will have characters, their characters, their versions out of character. Like you would sit and you'll say, wait a minute, that's something that Batman wouldn't say or do. You don't ever want to do that with superheroes or supervillains.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's pretty much the same as what Gray Mouse was saying. Mm-hmm. Stick with the source material. Stick with the characters that are laid out in the source material.
What I was saying is that they shouldn't have sped up as far as saying, okay, we got from here and now we're all the way to here. It's like, wait a minute, what happened to all the motherfucking shit?
Basically saying to slow down. Quit trying to match pace with Marvel. Slow down, do your own thing.
Because
or if I were to go ahead and make it more specific, start small.
Yeah.
Yeah. start small.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Because we're patient. We could wait.
Yeah.
We waited 10 years.
My particular view, my particular point is would to encapsulate both the things that you were saying, because a lot of our views are probably going to overlap. All right, is that look, you've got the comic books there. They've been around. These stories and these characters have been around upwards of 80 years.
I say nearly, yeah.
Yeah, upwards of around 80 years. So as far as like the most identifiable superheroes in pop culture are Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and then Spider-Man shows up right behind them. Okay? That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So when it comes to that, they've got 80 years of stories, 80 years of mythology, 80 years of characterization that's right there in their hand. So when it comes to that, use that. The other thing that I'd have to say, just to reiterate what you guys have been saying, is that, don't worry about catching up to Marvel. All right?
Mm-mm.
Do your own thing. Do your movies at your own pace. Because the thing is that, here's the thing. When you realize that Marvel has just put out, a record-breaking trailer that has over 100 million fucking views, all right? That didn't happen overnight, okay? That was something that they, like we had said in the previous video, that took them 19 fucking films, 18 films at this moment in time, all right? And over 10 years to build up to, all right? So with Warner Brothers, if the execs of Warner Brothers can get it into their heads when it comes to the DC characters and the DC superheroes, that all they have to do is to make good stories, okay, that work at their own pace, then guess what? They don't have to worry about catching up. Because if they're good, people are going to go ahead and they're going to spend their money anyways.
Well,
right?
One thing that the theme mentioned too is like there are so many villains in the DC world that are just as popular as the superheroes.
Yeah,
Lex Luthor,
Joker,
Stroke, Joker. There's plenty of material to work with. And it just you got Darkseid, you got all this other stuff that you can do. Yeah. And there's really no excuse for you to put crap out and just get like cookie cutter villains like Steppenwolf. I mean, seriously.
Well, let's go ahead and let's still keep it focused here. All right. So now that everybody just named one point, Gray Mouse, what's your second point? What would be the second thing that you'd sit there and say that they would have to do?
Yeah, I was speaking on the second on my second point. Without really knowing it, the villains, make good, believable villains. I guess it kind of goes with the second or my first point as well. Villains that matter, villains that actually do villainy, crime. That actually puts the heroes in a tight spot that they have to come together or what have you. And actually means something in the DC or the DC extended universe.
Yep. What about you, Theme? What would be your second point?
Do not come out with any more side movies or side stories that have nothing to do with what you're doing right now. How the fuck would you, and why the fuck would you come out with the fucking Suicide Squad during the time that you're trying to build up to this? Stop fucking doing that. Okay? Now, in Marvel's case, we know that X-Men and Fantastic Four are not a part of this shit. We know that. And that's why their movies are not doing well. But the Suicide Squad was a bit confusing because it's like, wait a second, is this a part of this shit? No. Then why the fuck would you do that even though you're trying to build up to this point?
Yeah. I think that was more of a fanfare than anything. People been asking them that they wanted that type of movie.
Yeah, but the thing is that if we're going back to your second point, Gray Mouse, where look, there's one thing that the DC has is that they have great villains. Their rogue gallery is awesome. Okay,
Insane. Absolutely.
yeah, and the thing is that they're almost as iconic as the heroes themselves.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing that they can go ahead and they can lever. But if they do that in a way that's not focused, then it just ends up ends up being a distraction, like the theme
Yep.
said.
And,
All
that,
right.
and that's what I was adding to what Grey Mouse said. You had these villains, okay, you're introducing them, and okay, you have the Suicide Squad, but it's not a part of what you're doing.
No.
Why the fuck would you do that?
It's in the wrong section. It's underneath one superhero's villains.
No, because the point is,
spread it out.
If the point is, if it would have been connected to what was going on, then we could have just looked forward to seeing those villains later.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it would be like, oh, okay, they introduced the villains. This is Suicide Squad. Okay, they're connected to this shit. All right, we'll see them actually battle and fight later. All right, fine. But now you got the Suicide.
We have no idea where the fuck they're gonna fit in. Yeah.
If they do.
Yeah. All right. Okay. For my second point, I'm going to say something that's been said many, many times. Look, when it comes to Warner Brothers handling the DC properties, all right. Look, they own all of the DC superheroes. Okay. And that's a luxury that Marvel doesn't have. Okay, but that's not my point that I'm going to make right now. Here's the thing. Even though it looks like they're making missteps and they don't know what's going on as far as their live action films, they kill it in animation. On the TV screen, on the silver screen, they kill it. Not only were they able to sit there and make not only do they have one hit series that's spanned multiple seasons already that has multiple fucking viewers, but they have 3 hit series. Okay, they have Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl, okay, all on the CW and everything else.
It's funny,
all right,
because that was going to be my third point.
Even Gotham.
Even Gotham, which is handled by Fox, it's not quite handled by Berlanti, but they obviously have creative people who have their hands in that. Okay, the thing that the point that I'm going to make is that look, as far as it goes, Warner Brothers has not only access to the comic books, but they have access to the creative people who handle the animated series, who handle the TV series, okay? If they're looking at somebody to go ahead and be able to lay down a framework, guidelines, or a roadmap as far as, pointing out where their stories are going to go on in the long term, okay, sure, they're still going to have their movie people to sit there and say, okay, maybe these ideas don't work out, in 2.5 hours or 2 hours that I have to put it on screen. We're going to go ahead and have to tweak it to go ahead and set a focus to that. But you have folks who are already concerned about, mapping out this long story arc to keep people coming back. Lever those people, all right? Consult with those people. Don't look at them as just resources who happen to work for movies, all right? No, these are motherfuckers who are putting together persistent creative pursuits and products that are successful. Talk to them, okay? They are just right down the hall, okay? They're not right down the hall. They are right down the fucking street, okay? Seriously, and they're under your hire. Yeah, you don't have to go out and headhunt like a freelancer or something. These motherfuckers already work for you, okay? Go ahead and consult with them to put together a good story. All right?
Okay.
Thirdly, go ahead, Gray Mouse.
Yeah, so for my final thought on this is advertising. Let's be honest here. These guys, they did shit PR. They did shit. They did not get the product out there. I don't think there was enough trailers. I don't think there was enough, they didn't create enough buzz around the cinematic the extended universe for people to even go see the movies. You can't just put Superman on a billboard and expect people to go see it. No, you have to advertise. You have to spend millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars on advertising. And I think that's one thing that they freaking just sucked at. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really see that many trailers for the Justice League or Batman. I mean, I didn't really see any hype. There was no hype built around the movies at all. Now, on the Marvel side, the hype was through the roof. It was astronomical. So,
well, somebody can say that, you know, there's a little bit of baggage from the previous movies going into Justice League. All right.
Obviously, but what I'm saying is I really think that the PR department really needs to sit down at a round table and hash out some marketing for these movies. That's something that I think is killing it. I mean, if people didn't know that the movies don't exist, nobody's going to go see it. And then, like the Reverend just said a few minutes ago, you know, that there's a lot of baggage, you know, Batman versus Superman versus Batman, whatever. Man of Steel, they didn't do too well, you know. Yeah. And you know, I think that's basically my point is advertising and getting the information out there, making the hype for the movies to go out there for people to go out and see them.
One thing that I will suggest as far as them advertising and doing the hype and stuff like that, trailers show too much as it is right now. So please cut back on that bullshit, okay? Cut back on the music video bullshit, all right? You know, getting the greatest pop song or that same fucking chick to go ahead and do the emo covers of fucking songs to all that shit.
Like the Aerosmith song, man.
No, all right. Look, whatever you do, well, you know, just to elaborate on Gray Mouse's idea, less is more for a lot of the things. All right, give us a little taste, but still keep us curious. Don't tell us the whole fucking story. All right, please don't. Yeah, not in the trailer. All right.
But still provide good, you know, advertisement, good hype about the movie. There's a mix. And I agree 100% with what you said, Reverend. Don't give the whole plot in your fucking trailer. Yeah. Who does that?
Yeah. Actually, too many people nowadays. And I think a lot of marketing departments, you know, kind of lose that point of simplicity.
That was kind of a mocking who does that type of thing. But anyway, the theme. What's your last point?
Okay, look. In order to make these movies good, you can't do certain things and you can't break certain cardinal rules. Okay, you can't introduce a character and then just immediately kill them off. Can't, because it seems that that's been happening a lot. So that character can't even return. They can't come back. They only had one fucking movie, and maybe they were only in the movie 30 to 45 minutes of it, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, that whether it's a good guy or a bad guy, that's kind of garbage to me. Especially if you're going to have this, if you're going to keep this going, and if it's going to mean something later on, or maybe you will need that person later on. Because doing that, it disrupts the whole situation of, wait a minute, that didn't happen in the comics. That didn't even happen in the animes. Where the fuck did this come from? Who the fuck wrote this? That's like if Ben Affleck shows up in the Batman Beyond Batman suit, like the next movie or whatever, I'd be like, wait, what? Why? And what the hell?
Well, you know, to add on to what you're saying, or to add the counter, or the add on, I don't mind so much as they do their own thing. I mean, taking the script right out of the comic book and put it on the movie theater, on the movie screen.
Oh no, it can't be
copy and paste. Yeah.
No, they can't do that. But what I'm saying is, don't go 180.
Oh no, yeah.
You can't disconnect the audience like that.
I think the worst thing about it is that they have a tendency to kind of throw things out there where, okay, even when you have a comic book fan sit there and they look at something happen on screen and they see it end a certain way where it's like, oh shit, they think, well, that was it? Why the fuck even have the character or even go ahead and bring this up? All right. The worst part about it is that if you have somebody who's not a comic book fan and they see the same thing happen on screen, they're like, so what was the fucking point?
Exactly. That's inexcusable.
Yeah.
Wait, comic book fans will see through that shit. But if they're non-fans and if they see through that shit, it's like, wait a second, you couldn't even fool them?
Or even worse, you're putting them in a point where they're asking what the fuck is going on. And that should never happen if you're trying to tell a good story.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. All right.
Another thing, if you're going to have Batgirl, yeah, don't have her as Alfred's fucking niece. Don't fucking do that.
That's another video.
Oh,
all
okay.
right.
Well, I can't say, okay, just build a DeLorean and go back to fucking 2006 and redo Superman Returns and redo Green Lantern. No, that's not realistic. But at least Barbara doesn't have to be Alfred's niece if they introduce her in the next movies or whatever.
Yeah. Well, Joss Whedon is supposed to be putting one together, but that will bring me to my final thought. Yes, he's supposed to be putting together a Batgirl movie. All right.
He's the one that's responsible for Red Skull not coming back. Fuck him.
Well, let me just go ahead and say something right now. Okay. Here's something that I got to say about Warner Brothers. Okay. One of the things that Warner Brothers went out of their way and that they pushed forward when, back over the last few years with all of this hullabaloo that they're trying to go ahead and put together a DC extended universe and all that was, oh, hey, look, we're not Marvel. We're not doing what Marvel is doing. And no, we're respecting the creative views of our directors and the creators who put together the movies. All right. Here's the thing about that. Okay. If I look at the production history of the last few movies that have been put out, especially Justice League as the last one, that is bullshit. All right. Look, Warner Brothers, if you're sitting there, you're saying that you're respecting the creative powers and the creative views of your directors and your writers and other people who are putting together their movies, go out of your way and actually fucking respect what they're doing. All right. Because look, here's the thing with Justice League. All right. And we said this, Gray Mouse and I said this, and we talked about this in the review that we did. All right. If we just look at the short production history of it, all right, they went ahead, they fast-tracked it, they started filming it right after fucking Batman versus Superman was done, all right? The Justice League movies was originally supposed to be 2 movies, all right? And then they said, no, it has to be 1, all right? So that sent the production people, the writers, into a scramble to go ahead and make one fucking cogent movie that was actually made sense. All right. And then after that, they went ahead and they said, no, look, you've got to go ahead and it can't be longer than 2 hours and 10 minutes. All right. Then that sent them into even more of a fucking scramble. And then there was a tragedy that happened in Zack Snyder's family. He had to go ahead and take off. Joss Whedon came in and then he had like almost 4 months worth of fucking reshoots to go ahead and do. All right, which meant that they had a really short time in post-production, which probably accounted for a lot of the shoddy fucking CG that happened in the final fucking product. All right. So, when it comes to that, look, if Warner Brothers is saying that they're actually giving their creative people the freedom and authority to go ahead and handle these things creatively, they better fucking stick to that. All right. And look, if there are things that they need them to hit, if there are points that they need them to hit, and there are aspects of the movie that they need them to tell or they need them to go ahead and present, they better have that shit front and center for these motherfuckers to be aware of and to follow when they're actually putting it together. The biggest difference between Warner Brothers and the Marvel Studios is that in Marvel they have one guy who is overseeing everything. All right. And guess what? He gets his directors, he gets his writers, and they go into their particular projects. And when they're putting together their projects, he says, this is the tone, these are the things that we have to hit, and this is the shit that we have to, this is what we're working toward. Okay? And he lays that shit out for them. Kevin Feige lays that out for them all together, even before they start putting pen to fucking paper. All right? when it comes to Warner Brothers, they say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make this movie, and we found a writer, and we found a director." Okay, writer puts together their thing, director puts together their pitch, and the executives go ahead and look up at their thing, and they say, according to our market research, this doesn't fucking work. So we got to go ahead and change this. And it could be anywhere from 10% to 90% of the fucking script that was put together. All right.
Mhm.
You know, and then they have to sit there and they have to battle that shit for the next, I don't know, anywhere from 6 to 18 to 24 fucking months while they're trying to put together a movie on the fly, hoping that it's going to get our fucking attention. And that is going to work out in some magical way to convince you as a viewer to go ahead and see the next movie.
So to summarize what you just said is you want more hands off from the top.
No more of this fucking, movie by committee bullshit, all right? Because here's the thing, all right? The Russo brothers, they did good things with Captain America, all right? Jon Favreau, he set the stage with Iron Man.
Iron Man, yeah.
All right? Taika Waititi with fucking Thor Ragnarok, he went ahead and he put his stamp on it, all right? Yes, they have their earmarked things and everything else, but they were all told beforehand, hey, look, there are certain things that we're working toward and there are certain goals that we want to reach as a cinematic universe. Play within those rules, and then we'll let you do whatever the fuck you want otherwise.
Have at it, as long as you
fit
this box.
But the funny thing about what the Reverend said earlier is that DC, Warner Brothers has control over all that shit. It's not like Marvel is separate with certain heroes that can't appear. Wait a minute. So again, you're gonna waste our time making Catwoman. You're gonna waste our time making a Superman Returns and a Green Lantern that was garbage. And then the Dark Knight was still doing his own thing as another iteration, but you have control over all that shit, and all that shit could have came together at the same time.
You know what makes it bad is if Marvel had the creative direction or creative authority over all their superheroes, they'd be completely unstoppable. I mean, I could see.
Well, come on, look at the deal that they had to do with Spider-Man.
Well, that's what. No, I mean, I could see. Look, you got all the Fantastic. You got the Fantastic Four. Bring all those guys in. You got X-Men. Bring all those guys in.
Not just the X-Men, but all the mutants. Yeah.
All mutants are out.
DC does not know how good they have it. They don't know. They have it so good that they don't know what to do with it. Marvel pieced this together by a ragtag group, and they made billions off of this. Billions off of a ragtag. They're not even their top superheroes.
As Grey Mouse was just saying, who thought that Guardians were going to get this far?
Yeah,
Guardians.
And let's just be honest. Like I said at the top of this, it's not like we're trained, cinematic scholars or stuff like that. But if we have access to Google, and we have access to the documentation of all the things that happen backstage and behind the cameras and things like that everybody has access to. And we can make connections if we're trying to add things up one-to-one. We can make connections to see, hey, look, this particular thing made a huge difference with this particular product, And as fans, like we said at the beginning of this video, all right, whether or not you think we're Marvel shills or not, we are geeks. We are comic book geeks, all right? If DC does really, really well, all right, and Marvel does really, really well, this whole genre fatigue bullshit that people keep on throwing around about how, all this comic book movie empire is going to go ahead and tumble and topple on top of its fucking head and is no longer going to make money. Nobody would be talking about that right now, okay? If all of the studios involved just sat down and made good fucking movies, all right,
it's just
nobody would be talking about that. Like
you mentioned before, I mean, we've been comic book fans for 35 years, at least.
Yep.
As soon as I learned to read, that was what I was doing. I was reading a comic book.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. And then when the internet came out, oh my God, I had access to all those back issues that I never got to read. So for you to put some crap up on the silver screen and it's shit, it's quite frankly, it's insulting.
And for any of you that may be saying that, well, they can't pick the most obscure heroes and put them on there as far as DC, no, I'm not hearing that. Doctor Strange, Ant-Man,
Guardians of the fucking Galaxy.
exactly. So no, I won't hear that excuse.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole reason why we put together this particular video, is that look, we are fans of the source material. We're fans of the source material. Other people may be, more dedicated, more deeper fans with a lot longer history and whatnot.
Definitely.
Guess what? The purpose of this video is not to measure our dicks against the length of yours, okay, or the length of your clit if you're a female. All right, but what we are doing on this end is that we just want to go ahead and put out as fans. Look, each and every one of us, okay, as someone who wants to see the DCEU succeed, there are real cogent points that we can go ahead and define and put out in front of everybody, that if the powers that be happen to stumble over a video of 3 middle-aged guys on YouTube talking about the DCEU and the things that they would hope would go ahead and change, if that executive person maybe takes it to heart, is able to sit there and make some sort of cognizant decision on whether or not it will actually matter to their product or not, hopefully this is something that will make them listen. With as small as our audience is, probably not. But you know what? I'm not just putting this out there to go ahead and sit there and say that I know better than anybody else. It's just our suggestions, But what we really want to know is that, look, this is only three points for each and every one of us. I know you as a fan out there, if you're watching this video, you probably have ideas. You can go ahead and give us your idea. Let us know what you would think would actually change the DCEU for the better. You let us know by leaving it in the comment below. While you're at it, mash on that like button, or even if you didn't like it, go ahead and mash on the unlike button. I'll give you a pass on that. That's fine too. All right. And if you think you like to stick around and see what else we go ahead and put out, click on those subscriptions, turn those on, turn on your notifications, and you'll see whenever we go ahead and drop out a new video on these particular channels. With that, all of our bullshit on what we think, the 3 things each one of us would go ahead and suggest to Warner Brothers to go ahead and fix the DCEU in this particular video goes ahead and ends right here. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
And I'm Gray Mouse 1.
All forms of entertainment has a right to exist, even if you don't like it. Credits.
And no, them not wearing their underwear on the outside of their tights, that really doesn't make a difference, DC. Just telling you the truth. That doesn't make a difference.